Heyo, Plaidman here. It's been a minute. Lots of things have happened, the election, other stuff. I don't want to talk about that stuff in this video. I want to talk about a book that I finished because I'm so happy about it. And it's weird. I do read a lot of books and I do want to talk about them. This in particular is about a book called World War Z. So I saw the movie with Brad Pitt. And this book, which is whatever, is a book written by Max Brooks. And hadn't really occurred to me to listen to it, read it. I listen to audiobooks. Sorry, sue me, whatever. That's just how I consume it. And frankly, if you listen to Orson Scott Card, he says that listening to audiobooks is the best way. And I will add that using the app Libby, where you can get audiobooks for free, is a terrific way to listen to books. I'm not sponsored by Libby. I'm pretty sure they're a public entity, but gosh darn is it a really good app. And I will say this, for this audiobook, I can't say this for all audiobooks, but this was fantastic because there was a terrific cast. Because the nuts and bolts of this is, first of all, World War Z the movie, which I consider one of the best, one of the top 5 zombie movies of all time, is nothing, absolutely nothing like the book. I kept thinking as I'm reading it, oh, we're going to have a moment. Oh, hey, I saw that in the movie. I know what you're talking about. Nope, didn't happen. Not at all. There was a few moments where it got kind of close, and then it just wasn't it at all. And I was like, oh, okay. So it makes me wonder, who wrote the screenplay for World War Z, because it's nothing at all like the book is nothing like the movie. The movie's nothing like the book. It's kind of one of those instances of feature films that actually did a better job than the book, which is not true. I would say that with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, the movies, the original 3 with Peter Jackson is very much better than the books. Not to knock the books. The books are amazing. I plan on reading them with my child. But the movies are a whole different thing. This was a situation where World War Z, the movie, is totally distant, different, is a totally different entity than the book. And I'd seen the movie several times and enjoyed it. And finally, I read the book, Grunt Life, and in there they talk about all these books that they have these people read, which I would suggest that as a separate thing. I feel like I made a video about it. If I didn't, then I'm going to look back and make a video about that, because that series is amazing. Anyways, so in that, I put it on my list of things to listen to. I was like, all right, cool. And then I finally got a chance to listen to it, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. The summary of this book is there is a zombie apocalypse. And effectively, you have this one journalist type guy who goes around and interviews different people throughout the world who were, I don't even want to say they were necessarily linchpins, but in a way, the author did a terrific job of telling the story throughout the world through these kind of pins of individuals who, some of which did epic things and some of which didn't. And they were just kind of wheels in a cog. But fascinatingly, it builds this whole fabric held together by these pinpricks and these strings. And it becomes a whole thing. And it becomes actually a terrific book for you to read. And I don't want to spoil it for you, because I think you should read it for yourself. But for starters, it's nothing like the movie. So if you liked, or as my wife told me, she didn't even watch the movie because she thought the CGI was so atrocious, which is hilarious. I'm looking forward to her watching it with me. Maybe she'll enjoy it better. We'll see. In a weird way, like, as much as I'm a movie guy, I didn't notice, like, I didn't care that the CGI was, like, bad with the zombie wall and whatever. But I just, it kind of cracked me up. I didn't know how to respond. I was like, okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, okay. I don't know if I agree with you, but I understand why you thought it was fake. And this actually leans into another thing. I think it's imperative that people, especially with this book and that movie, but especially with the book, I think it's imperative that you and your family read this novel. And here's my reasoning, is because to me, the importance of every human being is to confront what could happen and to prepare accordingly. And the objective, I would say, of good art is, I'm going to say this indelicately, it is effectively to bring up the possible so that you're prepared for it. You can harken back to The Matrix, Terminator, things like that, Equilibrium, V for Vendetta, like other stuff, you know, Saving Private Ryan. Like, the point of the majority of those movies is don't let this happen. See the outpoints beforehand and to stop it accordingly. And I would argue that that is actually the point of art. Marvel, in my opinion, Disney, in my opinion, doesn't really do art anymore. They do kind of like entertainment for the masses. But if you harken back 10 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, there are messages in old Disney films that resonate with not only you as an adult, but subconsciously as a kid. And I think in a way that's kind of what we're missing. I think we need more of that. And this book, to go back to what we're talking about, World War Z, the book by Max Brooks, is that in droves. It is a cadre of short stories, like super short stories, like conversations, if you will, of how this person in this situation dealt with this situation. And I'm underselling it, and I'm trying not to spoil anything, but it was beautifully frustrating as I'm reading because I wanted to know more and about that thing. And you're kind of left open-ended, but also closed at the end of the book. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm missing anything. You got everything. You got the whole context. The fundamental part of all of it was, hey, we as humans are responsible for our own well-being and for those that we love. And there's also another core thing, which is we're also responsible for those next to us and those across the world that we don't even know. We are all interconnected as a human race. It is all our responsibility as a human race to thrive and survive. So I just want to say that and just note, like, hey, people, I love you all. We need to aspire for better. We need to check ourselves and check the people close to us and our groups and everything. Like, all of this should be aligned to the greater good of what is best for humankind. And I'm going to make a separate video about this later because it occurred to me the other day. But we need to start acknowledging what does humankind need, and then once we acknowledge what does humankind need to survive, then we need to acknowledge that there is people who are actively doing things that are counterintuitive to the continued survival of the human race. So, yeah, it's just happening. Anyhow, I love you all. That's it for right now. I'm going to be doing more videos. I was kind of bogged in on the election thing, and now that that's over, I can be less chaotic about it. We'll see. Anyways, I love you all. I know I need to do more consistent videos and more all the stuff, but I'm working on it. I love you. Thank you for watching when you do. Please comment if you want me to talk about a particular subject or a particular book or movie or whatever. I love that. I do read them, and I'll get on it. So I appreciate that, like, because the interactiveness is appreciated. Yeah, bye out.